So is it fair? That's choice is up to you. You decide. All right, so readiness. What did we notice?
Looked at the different examples, and you just kind of talked about ours. We had ratio problems, and the ones that you handed your students, they were differentiated assignments by their student ability. And then we were just talking how the teacher should be using formative assessments to really drive and facilitate the grouping of what assignments you need to be giving them. You need to have that in your head. You need to have data. Use the data that you've collected throughout your course.
And where do I get that data from? Formative assessments. Where else? Pre-test. Observation. Exit tickets. Something as simple as like I did whenever you first came in here. That was a pre-assessment. Raise your hand if you thought you were a beginner. Raise your hand if you thought you were an expert. That was a formative assessment. I got to see an idea of how each of you felt towards differentiation. I do thumbs up, thumbs down all the time in my classroom. Thumbs up if you think this is true. Thumbs down if you think it's false. Now, you have those kids that you see doing this. So then you know, okay, I need to focus on this student a little bit more because they're sitting there looking around trying to cheat, get the right answer, thumbs up, thumbs down. The funny thing is whenever I have one of my smart students miss the answer, they all do. And then I'm like, all right, let's review. So, you know, and then I'll even call them out and say, okay, come up to the board and show us the process you would go through and make them teach because that's a form of differentiation, peer tutoring. You know, so if they can explain it in words that the student can understand, I may not have to come up and reteach again. Okay? So even things like collaboration, peer tutoring, that readiness level, I do it all the time. Low with a medium, medium students with medium students, medium with high. Do I ever group low with low? Why not? That's it. It is the blind leading the blind. Never group a low student with a low student. Always with either on level or higher. With the low student, you always want to go with the on level. I would not necessarily group a low student with a high student because then what happens? The high student does all the work. Okay? So on level with more challenged. If you see that those students that are right there at that like high B, but you think they can challenge and pull that up and go a little step further, pair them up with someone that's high challenged, and then they can collaborate and work together. Okay? So readiness, yes?
Well, one thing we think about the way that you label level history, you want to be a challenge for everybody. And a high kid with a low kid, there's no challenge there. There's no communication. But if you put a high with the middle, they're both challenged.
Right.
Because I've got to communicate with you and I've got to be where you are. So I think if you always look at it as where's the challenge at, it's easy to do that.
Just throwing this out there, placemats are also another great strategy for readiness. I do it all the time with performance tasks. I get a placemat, put 4 students in a group, give them one task in the middle. They have to work independently to solve the problem, and then they collaborate and talk about their information and how they come up with their answers. I know you guys probably aren't into the big gurus, but Vygotsky, one of the things that he really talks about is that inner voice. Students cannot express their inner voice whenever they're solving problems unless they have an opportunity to talk. Now, I know some teachers, they hate noise in the classroom. So how do you take that activity and prevent it from getting out of hand? Clear expectations. That's good. What else? Modeling. Good example. Should the teacher be behind their desk, just sitting down? No. Getting up, going and talking. Like whenever you guys were working, I was coming around to each station and I was talking. That keeps control. Keeps you on task. I'm not able to visit all 6 stations at one time, but with you knowing that I'm right there, it helps keep you on task. So even something like that, just being able to inner voice, express that inner voice. Okay? Learning styles. What did you notice?
There were different assignments, but they had choices based on what their learning style was. And the standard was to understand the meaning of number, and then they could either write a paper, create a PowerPoint or a poster, or make a movie.
Okay, so this one actually had two different types of differentiation. It was interest and their learning style. So based on their interest, they had to pick their My Special Number, and each of them had a different special number for some reason or another, and they had to describe their special number using either a PowerPoint, an essay, a movie, a poster, something like that. And so that was based on their different learning styles, such as the video, the kinesthetic would create something, and then the auditory learner could actually deliver a speech or write a report about their special number, an essay. I had several students that loved to write that essay, and so they were able to do that as well. And then they're able to share that with the class and tell, well, my special number is 7 because my brother is 7 years old or something like that. And they were able to give the background, talk about prime and composite numbers, talk about the multiples, the factors, and all that information with that task. So it's something interesting to them, and yet it got them an extra assignment, got the content in there as well. Okay? Yes?
The other thing that you included was a rubric, and in that they can differentiate how high of a score they get.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lucy, who is counting words, she can have she can look at the rubric and know if I have 100 words and this many sentences, I get an A. And maybe Charlie Brown, who's okay with a B, will only do what
needs to be.
for a B.
And I had students that did that.
That is good differentiation as well. And then you also included, which we noticed for kids who might have trouble with organization, is just a checklist of all the steps. Do you want to hold that up so they can sort of see what to do? Did you do all of these things? And yes or no. So they could even collaborate with the peer before turning it in, or they could just use self-monitoring.
So there was actually a checklist that went along with that. Does everyone need the checklist? No, but it was an option, scaffolding. Okay? All right, I also wanted to go back real quick to readiness. How many of you have a large ELL population, ESOL population? Several of the textbooks and several online resources, they may be ready for it, but they don't have that language yet. Several of the textbooks and resources offer the Spanish resources and other language resources, or if you can contact your board office, they may have a translator that could be able to work with you and create some more of those resources as well. Okay? So just wanted to add that in there. All right, our last one was interest, and I've already spoke on this some, but see if you guys have anything to add to that.
We don't have that much other than the choice of they were doing an interview, but they could choose a subject, so that allowed them some differentiation as to what they wanted to do their research on. And then there was a number 20 given for to be interviewed, but they could go more than that, so they had some freedom if they really were excited about the project that they could go in further detail. And then how the project was displayed. It gave some options there as far as the graphs used mathematically. They could choose and select the different kinds of graphs for displaying their information, which allowed them some differentiation.
Okay, so this project was a typical 6th grader. I had my 6th graders survey their classmates. I told them to survey at least 20 students. Some of them did more, some of them I had to pull that back and say, okay, go survey 10. Because not all of them want to go out and ask 20 students, and some of them are shy, reserved students, and I said, okay, ask 10. So that was even a differentiation within that step. And then, as they said, they were able to choose the subject that they were wanting to survey on. So I had the guys going around, what's your favorite sports team? What's your favorite football player? Then I had the girls going around asking, what was it some of the girls were asking? I don't even know. Things like, what's your favorite color? Who's your favorite something? Who do you like better? Yeah, actually, I think that was one of them. I was trying to remember. This has been back in August. Who's your favorite rock star? Who's your favorite singer? Something like that. So it gave them an interest. They wanted to learn about their peers. And this was, like I said, back in August. So I got to learn about something they had. So I've taken this information and I've used it all through the year on things that they have specifically given me the detail about during that typical sixth grader project. And then I differentiated not only interest on that, but also product, again, so they were able to give me a different product that they were able to do. So some of these had several different areas of differentiation. Some of them may have only had one or two. I tried to pick the best station that it would relate to, but you guys can see there's several different ideas that you can go through that are very simple to differentiate with. Okay? And like I said, this website has all the handouts that I've used are up on this website, so you can download them. All right, where's my PowerPoint back out? All right.